Jimmy Kimmel has been a face of late-night TV for over 2 decades. Known for his sarcastic wit, offbeat sketches, and cutting political commentary, Kimmel has also built a reputation as someone who doesn't hold back. That fearlessness has earned him a loyal audience, but it has also created some powerful enemies. Unlike other talk show hosts who tend to avoid controversy, Kimmel often leans into it, delivering biting remarks that turn into headlines and spark feuds that sometimes last years. Some of these rivalries are playful and staged for entertainment, while others are rooted in genuine resentment and public clashes. Together, they paint a picture of a host who thrives on both humor and conflict. The longest running of these is the now legendary feud with Matt Damon. What started in 2005 as an offhand joke quickly snowballed into a recurring late-night bit and eventually into one of the most recognizable comedy rivalries in pop culture. Perhaps no rivalry has defined Kimmel's late-night persona more than his constant war of words with Donald Trump. For years, Kimmel has mocked Trump's speeches, dissected his gaffes, and built entire monologues around skewering his presidency. Trump, never one to let a slight go unanswered, fired back on social media, calling Kimmel a failure, a ratings disaster, and at one point even demanding that ABC fire him for being terrible. The back and forth created a kind of symbiotic relationship. Kimmel used Trump as comedic fuel, while Trump used Kimmel as a punching bag to rally his base. By 2025, when ABC suspended Kimmel after controversial remarks about conservative activist Charlie Kirk, Trump was quick to celebrate, framing it as proof that his critics always lose in the end. This feud is deeply personal, rooted not in comedy but in ideology, and it remains one of the most polarizing aspects of Kimmel's career. More recently, Kimmel found himself trading barbs with U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, who was thrust into the national spotlight as a vice presidential pick. Vance claimed in interviews that ABC pulled Kimmel's show not because of controversy, but because of low ratings, a jab designed to discredit him. Kimmel, never one to back down, mocked Vance relentlessly, giving him sarcastic nicknames and claiming he wore more makeup than a late-night host. He turned Vance's comments into punchlines, ridiculing him both on air and online. What made this feud particularly sharp was its timing. Kimmel was already under pressure, his show suspended, and the criticism from a rising political figure added gasoline to the fire. In true Kimmel fashion, he spun it into comedy, but the edge of resentment was clear. In early 2024, NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers suggested on the Pat McAfee show that Jimmy Kimmel's name might appear in Jeffrey Epstein court documents. The accusation was vague, but incredibly damaging, and Kimmel was furious. He dedicated entire monologues to denouncing Rodgers, calling him a conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat weirdo, and even hinted at legal action. For Kimmel, the allegation wasn't just insulting, it was dangerous. He said it put his safety and reputation at risk, and the timing was especially brutal, coming as his show was already under scrutiny. The feud escalated again in 2025 when Jimmy Kimmel Live was suspended and Rodgers' earlier comments resurfaced in headlines. Suddenly, what started as a reckless claim by an athlete turned into one of the ugliest public feuds of Kimmel's career. This battle was rooted in anger and fear, and it showed just how messy things can get when the worlds of sports and entertainment collide with scandal. Kimmel has also directed plenty of criticism at tech moguls, especially Elon Musk. He's mocked Musk for his social media antics, ridiculed his decisions at Twitter, and once called him the world's richest online troll. Musk hasn't engaged in an all-out war, but he has amplified critics of Kimmel, liked mocking tweets, and let his fan base take aim at the late-night host. For Kimmel, Musk is the perfect target, a billionaire whose ego and eccentricities are ripe for comedy, but who also happens to have one of the most loyal fan bases on the internet. This tension creates a modern kind of feud, one that plays out less in direct exchanges and more through public perception and the amplification of barbs. Kimmel's political commentary has also made him a lightning rod for conservative media. Fox News hosts and right-wing commentators have often accused him of being a Hollywood liberal elitist, out of touch with ordinary Americans. Kimmel has responded with equal venom, ridiculing them as propaganda peddlers and mocking their on-air personalities. These clashes might not be as personal as his feud with Rodgers or Trump, but they've cemented his image as a politically charged host who isn't afraid to alienate half the country if it means speaking his mind. Even his relationships within his own industry have soured at times. In 2025, when ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live, major affiliate groups like Nexstar and Sinclair refused to support him, pulling reruns and distancing themselves from the controversy. For a host who built his career on his network platform, it was a shocking reminder that the people who air your show can just as easily turn their backs when the heat gets too high. Finally, there's the feud that exposed how deeply politics has penetrated television regulation. Kimmel has publicly accused FCC Chair Brendan Carr of applying political pressure that contributed to his suspension. He suggested Carr caved to Trump's influence and made sure ABC faced consequences for Kimmel's outspoken commentary. While Carr has denied any direct role, Kimmel hasn't backed down, using his platform to criticize what he sees as censorship and political overreach. It's less of a traditional celebrity feud and more of a battle between an entertainer and the government regulators who can shape his career. Taken together, these rivalries tell a story about who Jimmy Kimmel really is. He's not just a comedian or a talk show host, he's a cultural combatant. His humor is sharp, but so is his tongue, and he rarely walks away from a fight. Some of these battles have been hilarious, like the staged war with Matt Damon. Others have been bitter and deeply personal, like his clashes with Rodgers, Trump, and Vance. Some remind us of the cutthroat world of late-night TV, while others expose the intersection of entertainment, politics, and power. So what does it all mean? Has Kimmel built his career on comedy, or has he built it on controversy? Has his willingness to pick fights kept him relevant, or has it damaged his legacy? One thing is certain, Jimmy Kimmel's enemies list is long, varied, and still growing. And whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he thrives on conflict just as much as he thrives on laughter. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more deep dives into the most shocking rivalries in Hollywood and beyond.